Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, all of my beautiful friends from the internet. I hope each and every single one of you is doing absolutely spectacular on this fine Tuesday morning or whenever you happen to be listening to this podcast episode, whether that be morning, evening, or night. Welcome to the Reddit Asks Us podcast, the podcast where we read and react to comments from r/Askreddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. Now remember, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcast, please leave us a rating and also leave us a review. You have no idea how much that helps out the show. And if you enjoy the show, also please remember to share it, spread it along to your friends, let everybody know about the fun we are having over here, because you know we get up to some fun. Remember that you can reply to this week's episode by going into Spotify, clicking the description of the most recent episode, or any episode for that matter, and you can reply in the description to the episode title, the question, and I will read those responses out loud on the next week's following episode. This is an ad-supported show, so we'll do an ad break after we read out the comments from last week's episode, and then we'll have another one about 20 to 30 minutes into the episode. Remember, please go and visit my Instagram and my YouTube page where I post Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, and TikTok as well, where I post Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and TikToks. Different type of short form content. It's fun to make, it's fun to watch, it's fun to binge. It's just another way to read off Reddit stories and to just create some more entertainment for all of my beautiful friends from the internet. So please go and check out my Instagram at Reddit Asks Us Podcast, my YouTube at Reddit Asks Us Podcast, and on TikTok at Reddit Asks Us. Thank you all so much for doing that. Remember, if you want to reply to an episode or the question in Spotify, you don't need a subscription to Spotify. You can download and listen to episodes for free in Spotify. So that is something that is available to you. So why don't we talk about the replies or read the replies out from last week. So last week's episode was, what secret in your family? What secret was finally spilled in your family? And also remember, I guess before I read these out, you don't have to have, if you have something that you just want to say, it doesn't have to be related to the actual question. Even if it's just a comment on the show or really anything at all, I will gladly, absolutely read it out. And I'm very excited to hear from everybody. So the first one comes from the Green Changeling. Don't have anything that would be my business to share. Okay, regardless of anonymity. I do want to ask Vortex after the comment from last week if they would say they have a shitty brother. I think that would be an accurate assessment. I can't speak for Vortex, but if you want to know what we're talking about, go back and listen to last week's episode, folks, because it was a interesting comment reading section in the first bit there. But yeah, I you know what? People on Spotify, you can see what your friends on Spotify are doing. So I'd even be like, you only want to get so comfortable sharing some information before your family's like, hey, I saw you comment on that podcast, and you just outed grandma for murdering grandpa. Really? You're just gonna drop that bomb on everybody in Spotify now that everybody knows? Okay, fine then. Next one comes from Stressed Human. Now that I'm 18, I get to know why the bullet hole in Grandma was in the floor at Grandma's. Grandpa Rick shot it on accident on Christmas when my mom was little. Hey, everybody celebrates Christmas differently, okay? I think this might be a regional thing, okay? This might just be a cultural thing. Some people shoot their guns in the air, right? When things go on. Some people shoot them in the floor. Merry frickin' Christmas. Am I right? Boom. What's the excitability and the meaning of Christmas without a little gunshot, in the floor, without a little, add some character to Christmas, right? Let's go Cowboy Santa this year. Grandpa comes all dressed in with the red outfit and the hat and the big beard, and just got a holster on the side. Double up with the pistols, right? Double up with the revolvers, and just start shooting holes in the floor. Okay, get like a Christmas tradition. That's what it sounds like to me. Sounds like a new Christmas tradition. That's what it sounds like. So next one comes from Ghost. was Luke, the secret that was revealed a while ago, but it's that my biological sperm donor, POS of a dad, is a psycho-manipulative a-hole that murdered someone and got away with it. I don't know how he did it, sadly. That is insane. Getting away with murder, you don't think that that's possible until you, like, hear stories about it, and it's like, oh no, you got away with murder because either the police are just corrupt or incompetent, or you just have a lot of money to just throw around. You're very well connected. You ever want to know how to get away with murder? Be filthy fucking rich. Okay, then you will get away with murder almost every single time. Have you ever seen Succession? For those who don't know, Succession is kind of outlines exactly that. If you have money, basically the moral of the story is, if you have money, anything is possible. You don't have to accept responsibility for any of your actions, even murder. Next one comes from Cannon. What's going on? You remind me of Alan from Invincible. If you're unaware who Alan the alien is from Invincible, just Google a video of him. You know, Cannon, fortunately enough, I do know who Alan the alien is, actually voiced by Seth Rogen, because a fellow Canadian creator of mine, a big fan of Seth Rogen. I'm a massive fan of Seth Rogen, so you actually have no idea how much that compliment means to me. He actually is an executive producer on that show. He produces both The Invincible and The Boys, in case anyone didn't know. He's actually featured in an episode of The Boys in season 3, I think. So, thank you very much. I wonder, I'm curious, is it my voice or just the way that I'm kind of, just my sense of humor? I'm not sure, but regardless, that is probably the best compliment I've ever received. Next one comes from KH, the Reddit guy. Hey Luke, nice to have a fellow Canadian to listen to every week. I left my full comment on YouTube. I did see your full comment on YouTube, KH, and it was about the 200th episode. So, you commented wondering if we could do a spooky episode. I'm not sure if we're going to do something spooky because it's the middle of summer, but and Sam is very particular about the types of episodes that he does, and I don't knock him for it. Sam's a great guy, but he really likes something he can poke fun at. So, I'll probably have Sam on for our 200th episode. I can't guarantee it's going to be something spooky, but we'll see. In the next few weeks, I've had a couple comments asking for some spooky episodes, so I'll see if I can find like a disturbing secret or like a weird like episode thing or like a creepy episode to come on next. But shout out to my fellow Canadians. Next one comes from A Small Fry. Not a secret, but a hush topic. My sweet religious great-grandma used to smoke cigarettes with her feet. She had no problem with her hands and no prior training. She crazily lived until 97. That's insane. So I guess moral of the story here is you've been smoking cigarettes all wrong. Okay, if you want to avoid lung cancer, the problem is you've been smoking cigarettes with your feet. I mean, with your hands. Like a bunch of freaking idiots. Okay? You have just not been utilizing the full potential of your body. See, the way that your body contorts when you smoke a cigarette with your feet basically makes it impossible to get lung cancer. So that's the moral of the story here. This is what we need to take away, is that I think there needs to be a study done on this. I think we need to compare cigarette smokers with hands versus cigarette smokers with their feet. Do a little cancer comparison here, okay? I think we might find some surprising information, because this is, I can't say I haven't heard this, all right? I can't say I haven't heard this. But all jokes, just kidding, folks. Please don't smoke cigarettes and give yourself cancer. If you're going to, then I don't condone it. The next one comes from The Dopic. Don't think the fam has any secrets. About the Discord server, if it's too hard, maybe make a Reddit community. Great episode. Okay, maybe I will start a subreddit, all right? I've been wondering if that's something that I should maybe do, because then you all can post your questions on there too, and there's potential to pick from that batch of questions as, like, if there's enough replies. So And then that way you all can reply to each other too, and maybe make we can make it more of a community. So I will look into creating a subreddit. So maybe, and then I can advertise. I can be like, join our subreddit, because I think that'd be a great way to just spread community around the show. So yeah, that's a great idea. I think I will start a subreddit that I will, and then also removes a lot of like work that I have to do because it's just hard to add so many things. But that is a really great suggestion. So thank you, The Topic. I will be starting a subreddit because of that comment. Next one comes from Phil Savannah. What's going on, Phil? Great to hear from you. Uncle on the other side's grandfather had a deal lined up to be the Bud Light distributor in Southeast USA, and his idiot brother made a dumb Irishman joke. They closed the briefcase and lost $1 billion deal. Oh my God. Oh. Yeah, you know what is like going to probably close the books on almost any business deal? Blatant prejudice. Just bigotry all around the table, okay? Everyone knows bigotry and prejudice goes on in business, okay? You just don't discuss it at the business table, okay? All the dudes there were probably like, well, what is this guy gonna... He's outing us right now, okay? He's outing us. We can't have this. This is gonna be bad PR. We know it's true. We just can't have the PR department figuring that out. So if we let this guy on, who knows? Who's to say he's not gonna drop the... he's not gonna drop the info that we've never hired a woman in a senior position before. We just can't trust people like that. So, guess we gotta play it safe. That's what the corporate knights table, not round. What is it called? The corporate round table, Knights of the Round Table, are all discussing is the way they can now still be bigoted and racist and misogynistic, but now you just can't talk about it openly anymore. Now you kind of had to just push that under the table. Next one comes from Vortex. The secret that was spilled in your family was that you slept with my mom. So there we go. Another awesome your mom joke from Vortex. So thank you for that. Next one comes from Inra. That my uncle, once removed, cheated on my aunt with one of her best friends, who was also her deadbeat cousin's baby mama. This just sounds like a whole lot of drama here. This is just people. I think people are. I'm confused when it comes to this stuff. Is it like, are people just forgetful? Like they just forget. Oh yeah, like you're my best friend. I'm sorry I like slept with your husband, but you know what? I forgot. What can I say? I was hammered when you guys got married. Okay, I was way under the influence. I don't remember that wedding. How can you blame me? Okay, I was so out of it. I wasn't even paying attention to what I was doing. So, you know what? So what? I forgot that you're married to that guy and whatever. Can't we just move on? At least I was there, probably. I don't know. I shouldn't even remember. It could have been a funeral. Whew, get those days mixed up. Next one comes from JJ with the Easter Island head emoji. That emoji is so awesome. I'm adopted. That's crazy. I'm always gonna be the advocate for just normalize, telling if you adopt a child, normalize that fact, right? Just make it known that they're not any less loved. Because then when that secret spills, that person's gonna be like, what? It's gonna be a shocking news. It's different if you kind of just always grow up knowing you're adopted, because it's more about how you treat someone, right? Than it is about these sort of like these other facts about it. And if you just kind of normalize a kid growing up being told, you know what, you're adopted, I feel like that would be fine. But who am I to say? I am not adopted as far as my knowledge. Last one comes from, I have a stupid cat. That I'm gay and I have a girlfriend. But anyways, I love your podcast and listen to it before I go to bed every night. Heart emoji. Aw, thank you so much. That is a massive secret to drop. Yeah, and by the way, I have a stupid cat's gay, and they've got a girlfriend. So you're just like, ridiculously homophobic family. It's like, well, thanks. That was super unnecessary. Now you've jeopardized my relationship with my family. But you know what? To be honest, I mean, obviously that's your information to tell, but if you've got super homophobic family members, then they probably don't really deserve to be in your life anyway. So, you know what? Screw them. If they're going to hold that against you, then give them the snips. You gotta cut them out, okay? We don't tolerate no homophobia in this family, okay? Us beautiful family on the internet, okay? We don't play that shit, okay? So if you're gonna be homophobic, go and do it somewhere else. All right. Thank you all so much for replying to this week's episode. I love reading off your responses. It's great to see everybody responding. I hope you guys all please do it. We're going to take a short ad break, and then we'll be back in with this week's episode.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
All right, welcome back. We are going to hop right into this week's episode. So this week's episode is, what is one thing you are still angry about years after it happened? So I was reading off some of the comments. I feel like there's a couple of these for me, but one that just memory that never goes away. Because a lot of these were related to teachers. And I just recently actually posted a reel on my Instagram. Please go check that out at Reddit Asks Us podcast about what was the meanest thing a teacher ever did or said to you. And this kind of reminded me of that. So I was reading off all the comments. And damn, you know, most teachers I've had in my life are awesome, but geez, some teachers are just like, why? If you're actively a mean person, why teach elementary school? I feel like that's, if you don't like kids, isn't this kind of just counterintuitive? Like, if you like being angry at little children, you know, if little children get you very agitated, you probably shouldn't teach elementary school. That's probably, you know, like, I don't understand. You're kind of, you know, you're kind of throwing yourself in the fire here. You're kind of throwing yourself under the bus. Yeah, you know what? I hate kids, so I just can't stand them. You know, I don't really want them. Never really jived with kids. I really liked being around them. So, oh yeah, I'm an elementary school teacher. Yeah, I teach, you know, grade 4 and 5. Yeah, I hate those little rascals. Can't stand them. Get on my nerves. It's like, well, then why don't you teach someone else? Or just not teach at all, because teaching involves interacting with people that are younger than you and are also just like not going to listen to anything you say. So it doesn't matter. They're going to say that you have a funny shaped head anyways. So mine was when I was in the 5th grade, the teacher had asked us if anyone had read Charlotte's Web before. And I remember putting my hand up and saying, yeah, I've read Charlotte's Web. We read it in the 1st grade. It's not a very difficult book. And we read it as a class. And she just like looked at me and was like, no, you didn't. And I was like, excuse me, were you there? Okay. I think there's quite an age gap between us right now, so I don't really think you have the authority to say that I didn't do it when you, I don't know, weren't there, okay? And you're also like 40, 50 years older than I am, okay? I don't really think you're the best person to just tell me that I didn't do something. Okay, I don't really think you're going to have the most informed perspective on this topic, okay? You can't just say like well, that's like saying, "Oh yeah, I went for a walk today." No, you didn't. What do you mean? What do you mean? No, you didn't do that. You didn't do that. I wasn't there. I didn't see you do it, but I just know you didn't do it. It's like, what the how do I you can't win. You just can't win. I was so shocked at how to respond to that. I'm like, yes, I did. But I remember, that still makes me angry to this day. Next, so the first one comes from First one comes from Anias Pocket. I'm still bitter and angry about my high school Spanish teacher giving me a bad grade on a poem assignment. I used a word she didn't know, but was a valid word. I checked in my dictionary. She initially accused me of cheating, and after I showed her my rough drafts and explained how I'd come to the unusual word I'd used, she then still gave me a D for the assignment. Screw you, Mrs. L. I worked hard on that poem. Edit. The word was tenebroso, meaning dark and gloomy. Sadly, no. I don't have the poem. This was 25 years ago. Again, you're the Spanish teacher. I feel like a baseline sort of requirement if you're going to teach Spanish is to, I don't know, speak Spanish, maybe? Maybe know a fair bit of the lexicon of Espanol, okay? I feel like that's kind of a base requirement. Like, if you see a word, if someone uses it, is your first instinct just going to be like, well, I clearly know more Spanish than they do, so I'm just going to go and say this word does not exist. You don't think you could just be mistaken? Like, we are often mistaken all the time about lots of things. People's egos are insane. Reply from Crystal Rose, 1966. When my daughter was in elementary school, she got a horrendous case of poison ivy. We wound up in the emergency room, and she couldn't go to school for a few days. I wrote a note to give to her teacher explaining her absence. The teacher read the note and it had the word horrendous in it. She was down horrendous. Just kidding. She is down horrendous with poison ivy. Just kidding. It does not say that. The teacher did not know this word and proceeded to make a big production in front of the class about a made-up word. Later in the day, she just couldn't let it go, and she got the dictionary out. She was going to prove a point to the whole class about how uneducated my daughter's mother was. Imagine her surprise when the word was there. She embarrassed the hell out of my child for hours because she didn't know a word. I'm still salty 30 years later. Again, like, is it just what is the motivation here? I strictly just don't understand. People are like, well, you know, I've never seen that word, so it obviously doesn't exist. And you know, I am the sole gatekeeper of words in the English language. All right, I teach, what grade was this? Elementary school. You know, I teach 4th grade. I obviously am aware of every single word ever. And as soon as a word that I come across and I'm just like, I've just seems a little unfamiliar. No consulting a dictionary, no computers, because those are everywhere. I just, you know what? I go with my gut. I go with my intuition. And my intuition tells me you're a bald-faced frickin' liar. Word doesn't exist. Never heard it before. Okay, well, it is a word. Everybody knows it. Oh, you think it's a word? You think it's a word? Guess what? Guess what knowledge I'm about to drop on you? Never heard it. There you go. Doesn't exist. How does that make you feel? Boom. Sit your fucking ass down at the desk, okay? Because I'm about to berate you for your mom for using a made-up word. Holy crap. Do people not just have better things to do than to make children and their parents feel bad? The next one comes from Michael Lead 8811. 37 years ago, I was 5 and had to spend 2 years saving up $10 worth of pennies. I used to count them. 10 pennies in a pile of 10 piles is $1. Kept them in an empty coffee ground can. One day the jar was empty and we had pizza for dinner. My mom made me thank her boyfriend for the pizza. So thank mommy's boyfriend. He had to count all those pennies. Okay? Do you think it was easy work? Well, you were outside playing? Well, you were outside just frolicking? Okay, well, you were outside diddly-daddling. Well, we were in here doing the real work that adults do. Okay, adults count. All right, we were counting pennies, your pennies, to get pizza. All right, you were the one who wanted pizza. You've been screaming about pizza. Well, actually, you've been just screaming about food, but whatever. Pizza's food. we'll just say, okay, sake of argument, okay, you said you wanted food in general, just anything, any form of sustenance. We say that you were just wanting pizza, okay? You just wouldn't let this pizza thing go. So, fine. We held you to your wishes. We got your pizza, and we paid for it with your money. So thank mom's boyfriend, okay? Because he didn't graduate elementary school, okay? He forgot how to count. So you have to understand how difficult it was for him to spend all that time counting up your pennies. All right? There was many times he didn't know what came after 8. And I had to help him. All right? I was already busy watching TV. Okay? You think this life is easy? Come on. You have no idea what it's like to be an adult. It has taken us the last 5 years to figure out how to fill out our tax forms. But you know what? That's adulting for you. Welcome to being an adult. Reply from a Hoyd boy. A man stealing stealing a child's saved up money is absolutely foul. Like, how is that going to make you feel? Like, you've got to just be at that point. You're just like, yeah, this is below rock bottom. I am paying for pizza with a massive jar that a 5-year-old has saved full of pennies. How do you not just look at yourself and be like, I might as well just be completely homeless at this point. Like, I feel like that is a better look. Being homeless is a better look than stealing $10 worth of pennies. Like, you didn't even go to the bank to get them to do it. You just like did it yourself. You were just like, no one in a bank is gonna want to deal with me. I'm just gonna have to persevere this one out. I'm just gonna have to do it. All right, I'm gonna have to do this one for myself. Like, how can you're like, yeah, I don't really think that there's much of a future left for me. I'm taking literal pennies from an actual child, a baby. Wow, doesn't get much lower than that, folks. A reply from Ravenhair29. This post really speaks to me. I grew up in an alcoholic home, so started saving at age 5 to get away when I was a teenager, 5 cents at a time. I mowed lawns, shoveled snow, did paper routes, whatever. Even made $2.50 once for shoveling a huge estate driveway. By age 13, I had $250 and had worked out from friends how I would ride the rails and get out. Jeez, that's desperation. I'm gonna hop on the rail, the train to get away. Wow, that house must have sucked. My sister got a new bike one day. Oh yeah, and I went to the bank to deposit a little bit of cleanup money I'd made, and the bank said I had no account there anymore. My father had cleaned it out and closed it. Yes, the bicycle. I was heavily pressured to thank him for his generous act. Messed me up. I lost part of my soul then. Again, like, how can you feel gratified in doing that? Listen, you don't even need a bank account. Okay? You're a child. You don't even need a bank account. You know what I need a bank account for? Number 1, I'm an adult. Number 2, how am I supposed to buy beer without a bank account? Okay, I need a way to buy my booze, okay? So, guess what? How am I going to store my money? Bank account. All right? And it's just call it a transfer of funds. Call it just moving money around, okay? This is what adults do. They invest, they move money, and I just moved your money and I just turned it into my money. Because it is my money. Because I'm your father and I'm the adult. So, there's that. If you want your logic, there you go. That's it. It's no more difficult than just, I'm your father and I need the money for drinking. So there you go. Next one. Not all people should have children. All people can have children, but not all people should. Oh, so tough. The next one comes from Pudge Hooks 2013. When I was 14, my computer died. Dead. Not replace a part and it will be fine, dead. I needed a new one, not something expensive. not something expensive, and it was something we could afford at the time, and I made it clear it would count as my presents for the year. I researched a budget personal computer at school for a week, worked out all the parts I needed, where to get them from, and how much the total would be. I came in under budget due to a deal on a motherboard RAM combo. The time came to order it. I went through everything, got all the parts. I was even on a daily sale, so I was even more under budget. My mother was sitting there with me the whole time watching me do this, and I explained. I was explaining things to her, why I wanted this part, what bits it did, and so on. I was so excited about it. Well, it was cheap. It was going to be the best PC I ever had. We got to the point where I hit confirm on the order and putting the card details in. Page loaded for a few seconds and got denied. Must have made a typo. I did it all again, got denied again. I asked my mother why it wasn't working, and she said she didn't know. I tried a third time, denied again. I made my mother show me her online banking. It took some effort. At first she said she didn't remember her password, then something else, and excuse after excuse. I don't let things go. Eventually she did show me. The money she had put away from my new PC, she had instead given to my 23-year-old sister, who worked full-time and had lived with her boyfriend to buy new clothes she didn't need. She let me sit there and show her my excitement. She watched and listened while I explained things to her, and the whole time she knew it was never going to happen. She knew she gave that money away and made the conscious decision to completely and totally lie directly to my face over and over again, until the time came where she couldn't possibly lie anymore. This did two things: confirmed to me that my long-held suspicion, long-held even at the age of 14, that my sister was the golden child, and I would always be an afterthought, and that I would never trust either of them ever again. I'm closing in on 40 now, and I still don't trust either of them in any way, nor would I turn a hose on them if they were in a fire. My mom chose malicious indifference that day, and while no one in my family has even has a notion of what integrity might be, I have enough to keep them honest with their chosen actions. Holy crap, that is a brutal statement. I wouldn't turn a hose on them if they were on fire. Okay, maybe it might be a bit of an overreaction. Okay, I'm not gonna say that that your reaction is unjustified. I'm just saying, if they were actually burning in a fire, I find it hard to believe you'd just kind of be like, you know what? Not this time. Burning alive, probably one of the worst ways to die ever. I find it hard to believe you're just going to sit there and be like, you know what? You deserved it. All right. Shoes. How does it feel? Shoes on the other foot. Okay. You were mean to me my whole life. Now you're burning alive. And I'm not going to help you. So how does that one feel? Boom. Yeah. I have a hard time believing. You seem like a nice person. I have a hard time believing that you have got your heart dead set on not turning a hose on them, or even just calling the fire department. Yeah, my mom's on fire. You know, I didn't really want to save her, but, you know, you could probably do it. That is so insane. I can't believe she just sat there the whole time, just like, wow, looks great, honey. Oh, by the way, I don't love you, and I spent all of your money on your older sister. Oops. But it was really fun watching you do that. That's like so sadistic. Like, she's like taking pleasure in watching you get all excited just for you to be devastated that it's not going to happen. Like, what was going through her mind at that point? Like, I don't understand. Like, she was just kind of like not thinking about the future. Just sitting there being like, oh, wow, this is interesting. I didn't know this much about computers. Wow. Yeah, this is going to be quite the gift for you. Oh, yeah, I totally forgot. I spent every bit of money you've ever saved. Spent it all. It's gone. Literally does not exist anymore. But you know what? It went to a great cause. Your sister needed new clothes for her TikTok page, okay? How is she supposed to become a fashion influencer if we're not supporting her, okay? You've got your dreams of whatever you enjoy doing with computers, okay? Computers, where's the future in that, okay? Computers are already made, sweetie, so where's the future in computers? I don't see it. You know what the future is? TikTok. The future is fashion influencing. So we have to support your sister. And you know what? Maybe if you support your sister, she'll buy you a new PC. So let's let the cards fall where they may. You know, this is a karma thing, okay? What goes around comes around. You wanted to make a stupid purchase of a computer, so karma came and said, "Nuh-uh, that's not what's gonna happen. Your sister's getting more clothes, okay?" And that's the way the world works, okay? It's the law of cause and effect. You make a dumb decision, play stupid games on your stupid PC and win stupid prizes, okay? So, congratulations to never having any money ever. I'm taking it all. Next one comes from Blooming Fire Weed. I was in the 7th grade around the time of the Columbine school shooting, and a group of girls in my grade thought it would be fun to single out a few people by making falsified reports of them discussing a school shooting. So funny. This would be so fun if we did this. This is hilarious to be completely insensitive to a absolutely monstrous event. So funny. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Hilarious. Why don't we inflict torture onto other people? I, a socially awkward kid dealing with an abusive home life that was easy to single out, happened to be one of their targets. The vice principal, yeah, of course. The person who probably could use the most help in the world. Why don't we shit on them? Why don't we make their life inevitably that much harder? Instead of offering a helping hand, you know, or providing support, or just asking them how they're doing, extending an arm of kindness, why don't we just screw them over in a way that they'll probably never, ever recover from? Sounds great. Sounds like an awesome idea. The vice principal didn't believe me when I told her I never said anything about that, but she refused to believe me and was a general asshole about it. I spent the entire time terrified of my father finding out because I thought he'd beat the crap out of me. He didn't, but still. It resulted in a suspension and me being blacklisted from field trips for the rest of the year. A member of the PTA also decided it was reason to dedicate an insane amount of her time and energy trying to have me expelled or excluded from school activities that might be even remotely enjoyable. The girls who stated that idiocy never saw any consequences. Yeah, you know what? That I can't lie and say that surprises me. It really does not surprise me. Every time I've known like girls or just people in general who are mean and privileged, it tends to be that the privilege kind of just carries off whatever they do. Every bad thing they do seems to just dissipate into nothing. Doesn't really seem that there's consequences ever from that. You know, they'll treat people horribly. They'll drive their car into oncoming traffic after driving horrendously drunk, almost killing a family of 4. And guess what? No one ever heard of it after that. Ooh, big surprise. Tiffany's got to be the prom queen. What is she can't have a murder charge or a DUI. Are you kidding me? That's going to taint the diamonds on her new diamond-studded crown for prom. Okay? We need to heal Tiffany's leg right now, because if her leg is scratched up, she's not going to be able to walk down the aisle for graduation and for her prom queen, okay? She can't have any scratches, so I don't know what you doctors do, but why don't you just heal that all up, okay? Broken leg, broken schmeg, okay? How about I just drop $1 million? How does that? And now is my daughter's leg fixed? It's like, well, no. We don't just have Star Trek level technology where I can just heal your daughter's leg. Legs need time to heal. Oh, legs need time to heal? How does $100,000 bonus sound? How does a massive donation to the hospital sound? Well, it sounds great, but it's not going to heal your daughter's broken leg any faster. Okay, she was driving drunk, almost killed a family of 4. and drove into oncoming traffic. Okay, I think there are some larger problems here than your daughter making prom queen. Jesus Christ. Anyways, sorry, that was the end. That was personally, I sometimes think about that situation, hope they all ended up in terrible marriages. Well, you know what? At some point, I like to think at some point or another that behavior catches up with you. I find it hard to believe that at some point it just doesn't. You know, like these are the, like I literally saw this video on YouTube. Shout out to Agent 12 on YouTube. If you guys want to just binge some really fascinating, interesting content, check out Agent 12. It's all just like, it's like police body cam videos and all just like crazy people getting arrested for crazy stuff. And there was this video, this girl like killed these people because she was driving drunk, and she's just like at the hospital getting treated, and she's just like, do you think I'll be able to wake up for school tomorrow? Do you think I'll be able to make it to school? And the police officer is like, okay, I've had enough of this. You are going to jail. Okay, most likely you are going to get like a decade-long prison sentence. After we got you tonight, we found you here, you will probably not see the freedom of life really almost ever again. This is following you forever. Okay, I don't really know how much you know about the law, but it tends to be that you can't really expunge murder. Okay, this isn't even manslaughter. Okay, this is just murder. Unintentional, okay? But this is still murder. This is going to be following you around for the rest of your life. And she's just sitting there in like the hospital like singing. She has no idea what's going on. You just gotta hope that people who act so privileged and entitled and just coast off of this their whole life and are just really crappy to other people, you know what? When you're just generally a terrible person, good things don't seem to happen to those type of people. Okay, it doesn't really tend to be that, you know, when you go around treating other people really awfully, that life is just very easy for you. I think those people end up really angry, frustrated, and sad no matter what. And then they're like, why am I like this? And it's like, well, maybe you have no friends because you treated everybody in your life terribly. Okay, like they belonged on the bottom of your shoe. So I can't lie and say that this wasn't coming. Okay. Next one comes from Slightly Sane 94. Primary school sports day. A bunch of guys I knew were bullying this kid by throwing his hat to each other. A joint classic cartoon, classic like 80s movie scenario right now. I joined the circle, got thrown the hat, and then walked forward, genuinely intending to give it back to the kid. He thought I was faking and punched me in the face. That's pretty understandable, to be honest, so I'm not mad about that. What I am mad about is that a teacher sent us both to the office where we both got the same punishment of litter duty, despite my friends backing me up that I never threw the hat, and the teacher who sent me to the office having never seen me throw the hat. To be clear, nobody else got sent. Not the kids who were doing it for ages. Just the kid who was being bullied and the kid who tried to help him. Screw you, Miss Wilson. Edit, because so many people have similar stories. I actually just finished my first week on the job as a teacher. It's a high school, grade 7 through 12. Not primary, but still. A big part of how I deal with kids is based on the idea that I don't know everything and that the kids are not idiots. Seems to work pretty well so far. Oh yeah, who would have thought? Treating people like people. Not treating children like they are some like race of species that's just unaware to being conscious of what's happening. You know what? I really would like to believe your story, but the fact is, you're 11. So, everything you say automatically can't be trusted. You're 11, so everyone knows everything 11-year-olds say ever out of their mouth is completely false, okay? Everybody knows that things are only true once you turn 25. Once you turn 25, everything you say is true, okay? Before that, you're a kid. Nothing you say matters. Nothing you say is true. You actually can't be right. You can't be right. Only adults can be right. So I know it looked like you were trying to help him. Even I saw that you were trying to help him, and it looked like you were trying to help him, but that I can't trust my intuition. What am I? What do you take me for? Some kind of sucker? Okay? You were obviously instigating, okay? I saw him punch you in the face, but now that I'm thinking about it, it seemed more like you punched him in the face. So I feel like we're just going to give all the punishment to you. It makes me a little less angry knowing that some of the teachers, today's teachers, were yesterday's unjustly punished kids. So I hope it helps you all a little, feel all a little less crappy too. Again, like, what is up with teachers and just not believing students? It's like, can't you just ask? Like, all the kids are like, no, it wasn't him. He didn't do it. And you were just like, you know what? I never saw it. But all these people are trying to tell me that it's not like that this kid had nothing to do with it. And I wasn't there, but all these kids were. But they can't be reliable eyewitnesses. I think I'm just going to go with what my gut tells me, even though I was not there. Okay? There was no eyes on the ground from my perspective. And even though we have multiple stories corroborating what this child says, I can't trust it. Cannot trust it. All right, I've got trust issues with 11-year-olds. I really look down upon you if you have trust issues with preteens. Okay? Who hurt you? Why? I fully understand being fooled by an adult. Okay? You get manipulated. Adults can be manipulative and sociopathic and all this crazy stuff, and they can be awful to people. I think we should be a little less wary of children. Maybe be a little bit less suspicious of kids. All right, especially when there is multiple eyewitnesses that back up the story. Come on, do better, folks. And don't you have better things to do with your time than can't you just ask around? Instead of conducting your own investigation, you're just like, nah, I probably know what's right, even though I was not there. Next one comes from Immediate Reading 355. 20 years ago, my dad got choked out by a detective because he requested a lawyer before he talked, and they grabbed him by the neck and pushed him against the wall. He ended up crushing my dad's esophagus, and it doesn't sit right in his throat anymore. He never got in trouble for it. Yeah, okay, this is why you gotta watch Agent 12, because Agent 12 has these videos. This is why it's mandatory. It has to be mandatory that all police wear body cams now. Okay, just because you're a police officer doesn't suddenly make you a good person. All right? I understand. Policing is not an easy job. But we can't just go around thinking that, oh yeah, because they wear a badge and that they do this job, they're obviously moral people. If people are shitty, guess what? Shitty people also become police officers. Honestly, I can see why a shitty person would be attracted to that position. You get to hold a gun, all right? You get to be you're enforcing the law, okay? You have a lot of power as a police officer. You know who that job might be at risk of attracting? Power-hungry people. All right, I feel like it's almost kind of entailed. I feel like it's one of those surveys where, figure out all the CEOs are a bunch of psychopaths. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if a bunch of police officers would be that way too. It seems like people who are attracted to authority, right? And dictating and dictation, they want to have control over people's lives. It doesn't tend to surprise me that somebody would choke out your dad. It's like, listen, officer, I have my own speedometer. I've got my dash cam. I was not speeding. I can prove it to you. It's an integrated system. I know exactly how fast I was going. I was not speeding. In fact, I was actually driving 5 kilometers under the speed limit. So I would like a lawyer. He like puts the Darth Vader choke on him and he's like, lawyer? You want a lawyer? You want to exercise your fundamental right to a lawyer? Well, guess what? I'm going to Death Star your neck. All right? I'm going to squeeze your esophagus so that it never sits right because you want you want to exercise one of your fundamental rights as a sovereign human right on this planet that you deserve a lawyer to defend you. You know what? Nice try. I'm the judge, I'm the jury, I'm the executioner, and right now, look whose hands are around your neck. Not your lawyers, you know? Oh no, who's here to defend you? Oh, your lawyer's not here. Yeah, exactly. Guess who's here? Me, with my hands around your neck. Jesus. Oh yeah, you want to just exercise that fundamental right of, remaining silent? Let's see how silent you remain when I punch you right in the gut. Okay? Next, a reply from Justice Seeker 102. I kind of have a similar story. 15 years ago, my dad and our neighbor had a conflict over the fact that the neighbor's fence was on our part of the land. It was legally proven that the fence was in fact on our land, but the neighbor just wouldn't accept it. So one day, my dad went out with a shovel and scissors to move the fence by himself. But the neighbor ran out of his house with a shovel, screaming, "Get the fuck away from my fence," and proceeded to hit my dad in the head several times. My dad's head was one big bruise, and he had suffered a serious concussion, but thank God he recovered. I swear, since that moment, my dad just wasn't the same as he used to be. The neighbor somehow got away with everything. Wow. Someone needs to tell... As the neighbor, do you honestly think that wasn't just a bit of an overreaction? Okay, someone is... Even if they were barely on your property, okay? Do you honestly think it's a great idea, instead of just, going up to them and say, "Hey, we're clearly having a disagreement about this. We need to figure this out." Instead, no, I'm going to hit you over the head with a shovel. I'm just going to full force strike a shovel over your head. This person needs help. All right? If this is how they're solving this problem, I wouldn't be surprised to know that this guy's got a couple bodies in the backyard. All right, this isn't his first rodeo. Okay, it seems like he kind of came prepared. I just can't get over the image of just boom, like someone just, okay, yeah, you're definitely a fucking psychopath. Really? You couldn't just solve it with other things? You didn't want to just at least have a confrontation first? No, you just went right for the bashing someone's head with a shovel? Holy crap, that is just unbelievably violent. Okay? Why do you need a shovel? Why can't you just... I would just even say you could have gone with a fist fight. All right? But no, just boom. You decided to go and just go right for the shovel. All right, let's read off maybe one more here. Next one comes from randomly 421. 20 years ago, I was standing on my back porch smoking a cigarette and talking on the phone. This cop comes out of the forest behind the house, soaking wet and covered in mud. He walked right up to my yard and I asked him if he needed help. He told me to get my fat ass back in the house or he'd arrest me. I just stood there as the cop walked through my yard and away to wherever he was going. Reply from Vibes86. That cop was definitely up to something. He wasn't supposed to, wasn't up to something he wasn't supposed to be doing. Wonder if any bodies were found back there. Lord, I watch too much true crime. Yeah, this doesn't strike me as your typical law enforcement interaction. If a cop is looking really sketchy and then just tells you to get your fat ass back inside your house, it's just like, bro, fat ass. I weigh like 170 pounds. Okay, you're the one who's just panting, covered in mud, after walking up the hill in my backyard, all right? I don't really think you should be the one to be throwing out the insults here, okay? You're the one who's all dirty and gross and nasty and looks like they did something really sketchy, okay? I don't really think you've got the authority to be commenting on my appearance, all right? You're the one who looks like they just strangled somebody down the hill. Okay, looks like they were just involved in a massive cover-up. Okay, this is some like Narcos level shit going on right now. I heard a couple shots actually. Did you just come out of a freaking execution or something? Like, there's no way that you just came out of a totally normal situation. You weren't just down there, looking for criminals or looking for crime. My guess is that you're doing something shady. All right, I don't really think. I think I should be the one who's concerned here, calling the cops. Let's see if they can open an investigation here. I don't really think you're going to be the most reliable source. All right, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning into another awesome, really fun episode, full of just great comments of the Reddit Ask Us podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the podcast or reread and react to comments from r/Askreddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. Please remember to leave a rating and leave a review on the show. I appreciate it all so much if you would do that. And please share the show with your friends. You can reply to this week's episode by clicking on the description in Spotify and writing a reply there, and I will read that reply out loud on the next week's following episode. Remember to check out my Instagram and YouTube at Reddit Asks Us Podcast and TikTok at Reddit Asks Us. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I love each and every single one of you. I'll see you next week. Peace out. Love you. Goodbye.